###** Part 1. The Signal ****. In the year 2147, humanity had stretched its reach far beyond Earth. Colonies dotted distant planets, and ships roamed the stars like ancient sailors exploring uncharted seas. But despite their progress, humans were still divided, old rivalries lingered, and trust was a rare commodity. Among these wandering vessels was the *Odyssey Dawn*, a sleek exploration ship tasked with mapping unknown regions of space. Captain Elena Voss stood on the bridge, her sharp eyes scanning the holographic displays that floated before her. She was a seasoned leader, known for her calm demeanor and quick thinking. Her crew respected her, though some whispered she carried too much weight on her shoulders. Today, however, there was no tension in her posture, just quiet focus as the ship drifted through the void. "Anything yet?" she asked, glancing at Lieutenant Marcus Hale, the communications officer. He shook his head, his fingers dancing over the console. "Nothing unusual, Captain," he replied. "Just the usual cosmic noise." Elena sighed. This sector of space was supposed to be empty, a barren wasteland orbiting the dying star. Their mission was routine. Scan for resources, map the area, and move on. It wasn't exciting work, but it paid the bills. Still, something about this place felt off. The silence was too heavy, like the universe itself was holding its breath. Then it happened. A sudden burst of static crackled through the speakers, making everyone jump. Marcus's hands flew across the controls as he tried to isolate the source. The garbled transmission repeated itself, faint but unmistakable. "Help us, please. Elena froze. Those words sent chills down her spine. They weren't random interference. They sounded human. "Where's it coming from?" she demanded, stepping closer to Marcus's station. He pointed to a blinking dot on the screen. "That planet," he said. "It's dead. No atmosphere, no signs of life. But the signal is definitely originating from there." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Dead planets didn't send distress calls. And yet, here they were, staring at proof that someone, or something, was crying out for help. Dr. Arjun Patel, the ship's biologist, leaned forward. Could it be automated? A relic from an old colony? "Maybe," Elena said slowly. "But what if it's not? What if people are still alive down there?" Her mind raced. Protocol dictated ignoring such anomalies. They couldn't risk the safety of the crew for a ghostly SOS. But Elena couldn't shake the feeling that this was important. Too important to ignore. "Prepare the landing party," she ordered finally. "We're going down there." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Captain, are you sure? This could be dangerous." "I didn't ask if you were scared." Elena shot back, her voice firm. "I gave you an order." As the crew scrambled to ready the shuttle, Elena stared out the viewport at the desolate planet below. Its surface was cracked and gray, like the bones of some long-forgotten beast. Whatever awaited them down there, one thing was certain: it wouldn't be ordinary. And deep inside, Elena knew this discovery might change everything, for better or worse. ###** Part 2. First Contact ****. The shuttle descended through the planet's thin atmosphere, its thrusters kicking up clouds of ash that swirled like restless spirits. Captain Elena Voss sat in the pilot's seat, her hand steady on the controls as she guided the craft toward the source of the SOS signal. Behind her, Lieutenant Marcus Hale and Dr. Arjun Patel exchanged uneasy glances. The tension inside the cramped shuttle was almost palpable. "Still no sign of movement down there," Marcus said, checking the scanners. "Whatever sent that signal, it's not responding now." Elena didn't reply. Her focus was fixed on the barren landscape unfolding beneath them. The ground looked like it had been scorched by fire, cracked and lifeless. It was hard to imagine anything surviving here, let alone sending a distress call. Yet the faint voice they'd heard back on the Odyssey Dawn still echoed in her mind. Help us, please. The shuttle touched down near a cluster of jagged ruins jutting out of the gray soil. As the engines powered down, the silence outside felt oppressive, like the planet itself was holding its breath. Elena grabbed her helmet and secured it before stepping onto the ramp. The others followed suit, their boots crunching against the brittle surface. "This place gives me the creeps," Marcus muttered, scanning the horizon with his rifle at the ready. "It's just rocks and dust," Arjun replied, though his voice lacked conviction. Even he couldn't deny the eerie feeling creeping over them. They moved cautiously toward the ruins, their lights cutting through the gloom. Up close, the structures revealed intricate carvings etched into the stone, symbols unlike anything they'd seen before. Some parts of the walls shimmered faintly, as if coated in glass or some alien material. "Look at this," Arjun said, pointing to a section of the wall. Embedded within the structure was what appeared to be a panel covered in glowing runes. He reached out hesitantly, brushing away layers of grime. Suddenly, the panel lit up, projecting a hologram into the air. It showed humanoid figures, clearly human, being herded into cages by towering creatures with elongated limbs and insect-like eyes. The humans looked terrified, their faces gaunt and hollow. In the background, machines hummed ominously as the captives were led away. "What the hell is this?" Marcus whispered, lowering his weapon. Arjun stared at the hologram, his brow furrowed. "These people, they're being taken prisoner, experimented on, maybe." Elena clenched her fists. By who? And why? Before anyone could answer, another hologram flickered to life. This one showed Earth, or what used to be Earth. The blue-green orb was reduced to a charred husk, its oceans dried up and continents fractured. A single word flashed across the screen in bold letters. Krylos. Krylos. Marcus repeated. "Who, or what, are they?" Arjun shook his head. "I don't know. But whoever they are, they did this to Earth. And these poor souls," he gestured to the holographic humans, "they were left behind." Elena turned away from the disturbing images, her jaw tight. "We need to keep moving. There's more here we're not seeing." As they ventured deeper into the ruins, they stumbled upon something even more chilling. A chamber filled with crystalline pods. Inside each pod was a human body, suspended mid-transformation. Their skin was stretched taut, veins glowing faintly beneath translucent flesh. One figure twitched slightly, as if alive but trapped in stasis. Marcus recoiled. What the hell did they do to them? Arjun examined the nearest pod, his face pale. Genetic experiments. They were trying to adapt humans to survive here, to turn them into something else. Elena felt a surge of anger. Whoever the Krylos were, they had committed atrocities beyond comprehension. But as she gazed at the frozen faces of the victims, she also felt a pang of guilt. Humanity had abandoned these people, left them to suffer alone in the darkness. "We can't leave them like this," she said firmly. "We'll document everything. Every piece of evidence. If the Krylos are still out there, we need to know what we're dealing with." But as they prepared to gather samples, a low rumble shook the ground beneath their feet. Dust rained down from the ceiling, and the lights flickered ominously. "Did you feel that?" Marcus asked, gripping his rifle tighter. Elena nodded grimly. "Let's move. Fast." Unbeknownst to them, they weren't alone in the ruins. Shadows shifted in the corners of their vision, watching silently as they worked. Whatever had caused the tremor wasn't natural, and it wasn't friendly. ###*** Part 3. Echoes of Suffering ****. The tremor grew stronger, shaking the ruins like a beast awakening from slumber. Dust and debris rained down from the crumbling ceiling, forcing the team to take cover behind jagged pillars. Captain Elena Voss raised her hand, signaling for silence as she scanned their surroundings. The faint hum of energy in the air seemed louder now, almost alive. "What's causing this?" Marcus asked, his voice barely above a whisper. His rifle was trained on the shadows, though there was nothing visible yet, just an oppressive darkness pressing in on them. "I don't know," Elena replied, her tone clipped. "But it's not natural." Dr. Arjun Patil knelt beside one of the crystalline pods, examining its glowing surface with trembling hands. The figure inside twitched again, more violently this time, as if responding to the vibrations. Its eyes fluttered open briefly, revealing milky white orbs devoid of life, or perhaps filled with something worse. "They're reacting to whatever's happening," Arjun said, his voice strained, "like they're connected to it somehow." Elena frowned. Connected to what? Before Arjun could answer, another holographic projection flickered to life nearby. This one showed scenes even more horrifying than the last. Humans were strapped to tables, screaming as machines drilled into their bodies. Others floated in tanks filled with viscous liquid, their limbs elongated and twisted into unnatural shapes. The Krylos loomed over them, their insect-like faces expressionless masks of indifference. "This isn't just experimentation," Arjun murmured, his face pale. "It's assimilation. They're trying to turn humans into something else, something that can survive here." Marcus shuddered. "You mean monsters." Arjun didn't deny it. Instead, he pointed to the pods around them. "These people, they didn't die quickly. Whatever the Krylos did to them, it took time. Painful, agonizing time." Elena clenched her fists, anger bubbling beneath her calm exterior. She had seen enough death in her lifetime. But this was different. This wasn't war or accident. It was deliberate cruelty on a scale she couldn't comprehend. And worst of all, humanity hadn't known. Or maybe they had chosen not to know. "We need to find out why," she said firmly. "Why Earth? Why these people?" As if in response, the ground shook again, harder this time. A deep guttural sound echoed through the chamber, reverberating in their chests. It wasn't mechanical. It was organic, alive. "Did you hear that?" Marcus whispered, his grip tightening on his weapon. Elena nodded slowly. "Stay alert. We're not alone." They pressed onward, navigating through narrow corridors lined with more pods. Each contained a new horror. Some figures had extra limbs sprouting from their torsos. Others had skin stretched so thin it looked like translucent glass. One pod held a child no older than 10, its tiny body contorted into a grotesque parody of human form. Arjun stopped in front of it, his hands trembling. How could anyone do this to a child? Elena placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We'll make sure they pay for this," she promised, though doubt lingered in her mind. Could humanity ever truly fight back against such advanced and ruthless creatures? Suddenly, Marcus froze, his head snapping toward the shadows. "Did you see that?" "See what?" Elena demanded, turning sharply. "There." Marcus pointed toward a dark corner where movement flickered briefly, a fleeting glimpse of something humanoid but wrong. Its silhouette was hunched and distorted, moving too fast to track. "Is it one of them?" Arjun asked, panic creeping into his voice. "I don't think so," Elena replied, narrowing her eyes. "That thing, it looks like one of the hybrids." The realization hit them like a punch to the gut. The experiments hadn't all failed. Some of the victims had survived. But at what cost? These creatures weren't fully human anymore, nor were they entirely alien. They were something in between, driven by instinct and rage. The hybrid lunged suddenly, emerging from the shadows with a guttural snarl. Its elongated claws scraped against the floor as it charged, its milky eyes locked onto Marcus. He fired instinctively, the blast striking the creature in the chest, but it barely slowed down. "Fall back," Elena shouted, grabbing Arjun and pulling him away. The team retreated down the corridor, their footsteps pounding against the cracked stone. Behind them, the hybrid let out an ear-splitting screech, joined moments later by others. More shadows moved in the darkness, converging on their position. "They're hunting us," Marcus panted, reloading his rifle. Elena glanced over her shoulder, her heart racing. Then we better start running. The hybrid's guttural growls echoed through the ruins, growing louder with every step. Whatever these things were, they weren't letting their prey escape without a fight. Hashtag ****** Part 4. The Trap *****. The team sprinted through the labyrinthine corridors, their breaths heavy inside their helmets, as the hybrid's guttural growls echoed behind them. Captain Elena Voss led the way, her flashlight cutting through the oppressive darkness. Every step felt like a gamble. The ruins were unstable, and the tremors continued to shake the ground beneath their feet. Dust rained down from the ceiling, stinging their eyes and clogging their air filters. "We can't keep running forever," Marcus shouted over the chaos, glancing back to see shadowy figures darting in and out of view. Their movements were erratic but unnervingly fast, closing the distance with each passing second. "Then we fight." Elena snapped, skidding to a halt at an intersection. She raised her weapon, aiming down the narrow passage where one of the hybrids lunged into view. Her shot struck it squarely in the chest, sending it sprawling. But only for a moment. It scrambled back to its feet, unfazed, its milky eyes locked onto her with predatory focus. "These things don't die easy," Marcus yelled, firing another blast that clipped the creature's shoulder. It howled in rage, lurching forward again. "They're not alive. Not fully," Arjun muttered, his voice trembling as he fumbled with the scanner device. "Whatever the Krylos did to them, they've been altered, enhanced." "Well, that's just great," Marcus retorted sarcastically, ducking as the hybrid swiped at him with razor-sharp claws. "Any bright ideas on how to kill them?" Before anyone could respond, the ground beneath them shuddered violently. A section of the wall collapsed, revealing a massive chamber beyond, a cavernous space filled with rows upon rows of dormant pods. In the center stood what looked like a control console, pulsating with faint blue light. "This must be the heart of the facility," Elena said, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "If we can disable it, maybe we can shut this place down." "And stop those things?" Marcus asked hopefully. "It's worth a shot," she replied, motioning for the others to follow her. They'd broke into a run, weaving between the towering pods as more hybrids emerged from the shadows, drawn by the noise. Their snarls reverberated through the chamber, creating an unbearable cacophony. As they reached the console, Arjun immediately began working, his fingers flying over the alien interface. "I need a minute," he called out, sweat dripping down his face. "This tech is ancient, but I think I can." A deafening roar cut him off. One of the larger hybrids burst into the chamber, its hulking form blocking their path. Its elongated limbs ended in jagged talons, and its mouth split open impossibly wide, revealing rows of serrated teeth. It charged without hesitation, forcing the team to scatter. "Marcus, cover me," Elena ordered, raising her weapon and firing repeatedly at the creature. Each shot slowed it down slightly, but it kept coming, relentless. Marcus joined in, his blast striking the hybrid's legs and torso. For every wound they inflicted, it seemed to heal almost instantly, regenerating before their eyes. "What the hell is this thing made of?" "It's adapting," Arjun shouted, still frantically working at the console. "Hurry up. We're sitting ducks here." Elena gritted her teeth, realizing brute force wouldn't work. Thinking quickly, she grabbed a nearby piece of debris, a jagged shard of metal, and hurled it toward the console. Sparks flew as the makeshift projectile struck the glowing interface, causing the entire system to short-circuit. The effect was immediate. The pods lining the walls powered down, their eerie glow fading into darkness. The hybrids froze mid-stride, their bodies convulsing as if caught in some invisible web. One by one, they collapsed to the ground, lifeless. For a moment, there was silence, broken only by the sound of the team's labored breathing. "What just happened?" Marcus asked, lowering his weapon cautiously. I overloaded the system, Arjun explained, wiping his brow. The hybrids, they were tied to it somehow. When it went offline, so did they. Elena exhaled sharply, relief washing over her, but the victory was short-lived. As she turned to survey the chamber, she noticed something ominous. Red warning lights began flashing overhead, accompanied by a mechanical voice repeating in an alien language. They knew we'd try to shut it down, she realized grimly. And now the whole facility is locking us in. The doors sealing the chamber slid shut with a resounding clang, trapping them inside. The air grew heavier, tinged with the metallic scent of danger. We're not getting out of here the same way we came, Marcus muttered, gripping his rifle tightly. Elena nodded, her jaw set. Then we find another way. But deep down, she wondered if escape was even possible anymore. ###*******, Part 5. Ghosts of the Past *******. The red warning lights pulsed ominously, casting eerie shadows across the chamber. The mechanical voice droned on in an alien tongue, its tone cold and unyielding. Captain Elena Voss scanned their surroundings, her mind racing as she tried to piece together their next move. The facility was no longer just a tomb. It was now a prison. "We're sealed in," Marcus said, his voice tense as he tested one of the heavy doors with his shoulder. It didn't budge. "Any ideas?" Elena turned to Arjun, who was still examining the deactivated console. "Can you get us out of here? Override whatever's locking us in?" Arjun shook his head, frustration etched on his face. "This system is fried. Overloading it might have stopped those hybrids, but it also fried our chances of hacking our way out." "Great," Marcus muttered under his breath. "So we're stuck in a death trap with no exit plan. Just perfect." Before anyone could respond, a low hum filled the air, growing louder by the second. The walls seemed to vibrate, and faint whispers echoed through the chamber, soft at first, then louder, overlapping voices that sent chills down their spines. "What is that?" Elena demanded, spinning around to locate the source. "It sounds like talking," Arjun replied hesitantly, his eyes darting nervously. "But not from us." The whispers grew clearer, forming fragmented words in multiple languages, some human, others alien. Phrases like "help us," "*****, they took everything," and "don't let them win." Repeated endlessly, creating a haunting chorus. Marcus raised his rifle, scanning the darkness. "Are those ghosts?" "I don't believe in ghosts," Elena snapped, though her grip on her weapon tightened. "It's probably another trick of this place, a recording or some kind of psychological warfare." But deep down, even she wasn't sure. The voices felt too real, too desperate. They weren't just noise. They were pleas for help, cries of anguish that clawed at their sanity. As the team pressed deeper into the chamber, they noticed something strange. Faint outlines began appearing in the air, shimmering like heat waves. At first, they were indistinct, but soon they coalesced into translucent figures, humanoid shapes frozen mid-motion. Some wore tattered clothing. Others had grotesque deformities similar to the hybrids. Their faces were twisted in expressions of terror and pain. "Their memories," Arjun whispered, his voice trembling. "Echoes of what happened here. The Krylos must have recorded everything, the experiments, the suffering, and stored it in the facility's systems." One figure stepped forward, more solid than the rest. It was a woman, her hollow eyes fixed on Elena. Her lips moved silently before she spoke in a raspy whisper. "You shouldn't have come." Elena froze, her heart pounding. "Who are you?" The woman tilted her head, as if confused. "We were like you once, explorers, dreamers. But they found us. They took us apart, piece by piece." She gestured toward the rows of pods behind her. "And when they were done, they left us here, to rot." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "Is she real?" "No," Arjun said quickly, though his voice lacked conviction. She's part of the system, a projection, like a hologram. Asterisk real or not, we suffered, asterisk the woman continued, her gaze piercing. Asterisk, and now you will too. There's no escape. Asterisk. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shuddered violently. The pods lining the walls began to crackle with energy, their surfaces glowing faintly again. The whispers intensified, becoming deafening screams that reverberated through the chamber. They're rebooting, Arjun shouted, panic rising in his voice. The system's coming back online. Alina grabbed him by the arm. Then we need to move. Now. The team bolted toward the far end of the chamber, where a narrow passage led into darkness. Behind them, the pods burst open, releasing streams of black smoke that swirled and coalesced into new forms, more hybrids, rising from the ashes like vengeful spirits. This isn't over, Marcus yelled, firing blindly as they ran. His shots did little to slow the creatures down. Alina glanced over her shoulder, her jaw clenched. No, it's not. But we're not dying here. As they disappeared into the passage, the ghostly figures faded, leaving only silence in their wake. Yet the weight of their warnings lingered, echoing in Alina's mind. Asterisk, there's no escape, asterisk. And for the first time since landing on this cursed planet, she wondered if they'd made a terrible mistake. Hashtag asterisk asterisk part 6. Unveiling the truth asterisk asterisk. The narrow passage twisted and turned like a maze, its walls slick with condensation that reflected their flashlights in eerie streaks. Captain Alina Voss led the way, her breaths shallow but controlled as she pushed forward despite the growing sense of dread. Behind her, Marcus and Arjun followed closely, their footsteps echoing loudly in the confined space. We can't keep running forever, Marcus panted, glancing over his shoulder every few seconds. The hybrid's guttural growls were fainter now, but they could still hear them. Relentless predators closing in. We don't have to run forever, Alina replied sharply. Just long enough to find answers. Answers, that was all they had left. If this facility held the key to understanding what happened here, then it might also hold a way out. But the deeper they ventured, the more unsettling the ruins became. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, pulsating in sync with the distant hum of machinery. It felt like the facility itself was alive, watching them. Finally, they reached a large chamber at the end of the passage. Unlike the others, this one was pristine, untouched by decay or time. At its center stood a massive holographic display, projecting an intricate map of star systems into the air. Each planet was marked with alien script, some glowing red while others pulsed green. This is incredible, Arjun murmured, stepping closer to examine the projection. His hands hovered over the controls embedded in the floor, hesitating before he touched anything. It's a map of the Krylos Empire. Alina joined him, her eyes scanning the hologram. One name caught her attention immediately, a familiar word written in bold letters near the edge of the map. Asterisk Earth asterisk. Earth, Marcus echoed, his voice cracking slightly. What does Earth have to do with this? Arjun's fingers moved quickly over the interface, translating fragments of data as fast as he could. According to this, Earth wasn't destroyed naturally. The Krylos, they stripped it bare, harvested its resources until there was nothing left. A heavy silence fell over the group. Alina stared at the hologram, her mind reeling. All her life, she'd been taught that Earth's destruction was a natural disaster, an asteroid impact or climate collapse. But this changed everything. They didn't just take our home, Arjun continued, his voice trembling with anger. They took us too. Humans were abducted, enslaved, used for experiments. This whole place, it's proof of what they did. Marcus shook his head, disbelief etched across his face. Why would anyone do something like this? What kind of monsters are we dealing with? Before anyone could answer, the hologram shifted, displaying new images, Fleets of Krylos ships descending on unsuspecting planets, harvesting entire populations like crops. Cities burned, oceans boiled away, and skies turned black under the weight of industrial machines. The scale of devastation was unimaginable. "And they're still out there," Alina said quietly, her fists clenched. "Still conquering, still destroying." Arjun nodded grimly. "If we don't stop them, they'll come for the colonies next. For everyone." As if on cue, the ground trembled violently again, shaking loose chunks of rock from the ceiling. The hybrids' growls grew louder, closer. They were running out of time. "We need to get this data back to the fleet," Alina declared, pulling a portable storage device from her belt. She handed it to Arjun. "Copy everything you can. We'll expose the truth. Make sure humanity knows what's coming." "But how do we even get out of here?" Marcus asked, his rifle aimed at the entrance as shadows flickered ominously beyond. Alina glanced around the chamber, her sharp eyes landing on a maintenance hatch in the corner. "We improvise." She sprinted toward the hatch, prying it open with brute force. Inside was a vertical shaft lined with rusted rungs leading upward. "This has to lead somewhere. Move." One by one, they climbed into the shaft, leaving the horrors of the chamber behind, but not the weight of what they'd discovered. As they ascended, Alina couldn't shake the image of Earth's barren surface from her mind. The Krylos had taken everything from humanity once. Now it was personal. When they finally emerged onto the surface, gasping for fresh air, the sight that greeted them made their blood run cold. A fleet of Krylos ships descending through the atmosphere, their insect-like forms unmistakable against the dying sun. "They're here," Marcus whispered, raising his weapon. Alina stood tall, her expression resolute. "Then let's give them a fight they won't forget." ###** Part 7. Breaking free ****. The Krylos fleet loomed above the desolate planet, their ships casting long shadows over the cracked surface. Captain Alina Voss shielded her eyes from the glare as she stared up at the ominous vessels. Each one was a monolithic structure, sleek and insect-like, with jagged edges that seemed designed to intimidate. The air vibrated with the hum of their engines, and an eerie green glow emanated from their underbellies. "They're scanning us," Marcus said, his voice tight as he adjusted the settings on his rifle. "We've got maybe minutes before they send something down." Alina didn't respond immediately. Her mind raced, weighing their options. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and stranded on a hostile planet with no backup in sight. But they had one advantage: the data stored securely in Arjun's device. If they could get it back to the *Odyssey Dawn*, humanity would finally know the truth about the Krylos. "We need to move," she said firmly, turning to face her team. "Back to the shuttle. Now." Arjun clutched the storage device tightly against his chest, his knuckles white. "What if they intercept us? We can't fight those ships." "We don't have to fight them," Alina replied, her tone sharp but steady. "We just need to survive long enough to get off this rock." As they sprinted across the barren landscape, the ground trembled beneath their boots. A deafening roar split the air as a massive beam of energy shot down from one of the Krylos ships, striking the ruins they'd just escaped. The impact sent shockwaves rippling outward, knocking them off their feet. "Damn it," Marcus shouted, scrambling back up. "They're destroying the evidence." Alina gritted her teeth. "Then we make sure they don't destroy us too." The shuttle came into view ahead, its battered hull gleaming faintly in the dim light. But between them and safety lay open terrain. No cover, no place to hide. As they closed the distance, a smaller Krylos craft descended rapidly, hovering low over the ground. Its underside opened, releasing a swarm of drones, sleek, metallic spheres equipped with glowing red sensors and razor-sharp appendages. "Hostiles incoming," Marcus yelled, firing at the nearest drone. His shot struck true, disabling it mid-flight, but two more took its place instantly. "Keep moving." Elena ordered, pulling a small explosive charge from her belt. She hurled it toward the advancing swarm, the blast sending shards of metal flying in every direction. For a moment, the path was clear. But the reprieve was short-lived. More drones emerged from the larger ship, accompanied by humanoid figures dropping from the sky. Krylos warriors clad in black exoskeleton armor. Their elongated limbs moved with terrifying speed, closing the gap between them and the humans. "This isn't going to work," Arjun cried, ducking as a drone zipped past his head. "There's too many of them." Elena grabbed him by the arm, dragging him forward. "We don't stop. Not now." Reaching the shuttle, Marcus leaped onto the ramp, firing wildly to cover their retreat. Elena shoved Arjun inside before climbing aboard herself. "Go. Go," she barked at Marcus, who scrambled into the pilot's seat. The engines roared to life just as the first Krylos warrior reached the shuttle. It lunged, its claws scraping against the hull as the craft lifted off the ground. Another drone slammed into the rear thrusters, causing the shuttle to shudder violently. "Hold on," Marcus shouted, yanking the controls hard. The shuttle veered sharply upward, narrowly avoiding another energy blast from the Krylos ship. Inside, Elena collapsed into a seat, her chest heaving as adrenaline coursed through her veins. Through the viewport, she watched the planet shrink below them, the ruins now reduced to smoldering craters. The Krylos fleet lingered in orbit, their presence a stark reminder of the threat looming over humanity. "We did it," Arjun whispered, clutching the storage device like a lifeline. "We got the data." "For now," Elena replied grimly, her gaze fixed on the alien ships. "But this isn't over. Not even close." As the shuttle sped toward the Odyssey Dawn, the weight of their discovery settled heavily on all of them. The Krylos weren't just conquerors. They were exterminators. And if humanity wanted to survive, they'd need to unite or perish. For the first time in centuries, Earth's fate had been revealed, and Elena knew that exposing the truth was only the beginning of the war to come. ###**** Part 8. Humanity Strikes Back ****. The Odyssey Dawn hung in the void of space, its sleek hull battered but intact. As the shuttle docked, Captain Elena Voss and her team disembarked with urgency etched into their faces. Every second counted now. The Krylos fleet was still out there, and they had no doubt that the aliens would track them soon. Elena strode onto the bridge, her boots echoing against the metal floor. "Get me a secure channel to Fleet Command," she ordered sharply, taking her seat at the helm. Her crew scrambled to comply, their movements quick and precise. "Channel open, Captain," Lieutenant Marcus Hale confirmed, his voice tinged with nervous energy. Elena leaned forward, staring into the holographic display as the face of Admiral Soren appeared. The grizzled leader of humanity's united fleets looked weary but alert. "Captain Voss, what's your status?" "We found something you need to see," Elena replied without preamble. She nodded to Dr. Arjun Patel, who connected the storage device to the ship's main console. Within moments, the horrifying images from the Krylos facility filled the screen. Scenes of Earth's destruction, human experimentation, and entire civilizations reduced to ash. Admiral Soren's expression hardened as he absorbed the evidence. When the footage ended, silence lingered for a long moment before he spoke. "This changes everything." "It does," Elena said firmly. "The Krylos didn't just destroy Earth. They've been harvesting worlds across the galaxy. If we don't stop them, they'll come for us next." Soren nodded grimly. "Then we fight. I'm mobilizing every available ship. We'll hit them before they can regroup." As the transmission ended, the Odyssey Dawn erupted into chaos. Crew members rushed to prepare the vessel for battle, while others worked tirelessly to spread the data across all communication channels. News of the Krylos atrocities spread like wildfire through human space, igniting outrage and fear in equal measure. For centuries, Humanity had been fractured by old rivalries and mistrust. But now, faced with an existential threat, those divisions began to crumble. Colonies once hostile to one another pledged support, sending ships and supplies to bolster the growing fleet. Even pirates and mercenaries joined the cause, driven by a shared desire for vengeance. Back aboard the Odyssey Dawn Elena addressed her crew. Standing tall on the bridge, she let her gaze sweep over their determined faces. What we saw down there, it wasn't just history. It's a warning. The Krylos took everything from us once, but we won't let them do it again. Today, we fight not just for survival, but for justice. Her words ignited a fire in everyone present. Cheers broke out, fists raised in defiance. Even Marcus, usually stoic, cracked a rare smile. About time we showed these bastards what humans are made of. Arjun stood quietly, clutching the storage device. He hadn't spoken much since leaving the planet, haunted by the horrors they'd uncovered. But when Elena placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, he nodded resolutely. We'll make sure they pay for what they've done. Hours later, the combined human fleet assembled near the edge of the system. A sprawling armada of warships, freighters, and modified civilian vessels. Their numbers were staggering, a testament to humanity's newfound unity. At the center of the formation floated the Odyssey Dawn its scanners locked onto the approaching Krylos fleet. When the enemy came into view, their insect-like ships dwarfed even the largest human vessels. But size alone wouldn't win this fight, not against the sheer determination of billions united under a single banner. This is it, Elena said softly, gripping the controls. She turned to her crew, her voice unwavering. Stay sharp, and remember why we're here. As the two fleets clashed, the void erupted in bursts of light and sound. Lasers streaked through space, missiles tore through alien hulls, and debris rained down like cosmic confetti. Humanity's ships swarmed around the Krylos, using speed and ingenuity to compensate for their technological disadvantage. Amid the chaos, Elena spotted an opportunity. A weak point in the Krylos flagship's defenses. Marcus, target their engines. Arjun, reroute power to our shields. We're going in. The Odyssey Dawn surged forward, dodging enemy fire as it closed the gap. For the first time in centuries, humanity fought not as scattered factions, but as one unstoppable force. And deep within the heart of the battle, Elena whispered a silent promise. Not today, Hashtag Part 9. The final stand The Odyssey Dawn tore through the chaos of battle like a blade cutting through darkness. Its hull groaned under the strain of enemy fire, but Captain Elena Voss refused to falter. Her hands gripped the controls with unyielding determination as she guided the ship closer to the Krylos flagship, a monstrous vessel bristling with weapons and glowing with an ominous green light. Shields are holding at 40%. Marcus shouted from his station, his voice strained as another volley of energy blasts rocked the ship. Sparks flew from overloaded panels, and the air smelled of scorched metal. Keep us steady, Elena ordered, her eyes locked on the massive alien craft ahead. We're not backing down now. Arjun worked furiously at his console, rerouting every ounce of spare power to their shields and engines. Sweat dripped down his face as he muttered calculations under his breath. If we can disable their primary weapon systems, the rest of the fleet can take them out. And how exactly do you plan to do that? Marcus snapped, glancing over his shoulder. Their defenses are impenetrable. We use what they gave us, Elena replied sharply, nodding toward the storage device containing the stolen Krylos data. Arjun, interface it with their systems. If we can hack into their network, we might be able to shut them down from the inside. Arjun hesitated for a moment, then nodded grimly. It's risky, but it could work. I'll need direct access to their core. Elena didn't hesitate. Marcus, prepare a boarding team. We're going in. Minutes later, the Odyssey Dawn latched onto the Krylos flagship using magnetic clamps. The crew donned combat gear, arming themselves with rifles and explosives scavenged from the ship's armory. Alina led the charge, her rifle raised as the airlock hissed open. Inside, the alien ship was a labyrinth of twisting corridors bathed in pulsating green light. Strange symbols glowed on the walls, shifting and shimmering as if alive. The air was thick with the hum of machinery and the faint scent of something metallic. "This place feels wrong," Marcus muttered, scanning the shadows nervously. His finger hovered over the trigger, ready to fire at any moment. "It is wrong," Alina said grimly. "Stay focused." They moved cautiously, encountering pockets of resistance along the way. Krylos warriors emerged from the darkness, tall, insectoid figures with elongated limbs and razor-sharp claws. Their movements were swift and precise, forcing the team to fight for every step forward. "Arjun, hurry." Alina barked as Marcus fired repeatedly, taking down 2 Krylos soldiers before ducking behind cover. The alien's chitinous armor absorbed most of the shots, making each encounter deadly. "I'm almost there," Arjun called back, his fingers flying over a portable hacking device connected to a panel embedded in the wall. Lines of alien code scrolled across the screen as he worked frantically to breach their systems. Suddenly, a deafening roar echoed through the corridor. A massive Krylos commander appeared, towering over them with gleaming black exoskeleton armor and glowing red eyes. It raised a clawed hand, signaling for its troops to stand down. "You dare invade our sanctum?" The creature growled, its voice distorted yet eerily human. "You will perish here." Alina stepped forward, her rifle trained on the commander's chest. "Not today," she snarled. "Today, you answer for what you've done. To Earth, to my people, to everyone." The commander lunged, moving faster than anything they'd faced before. Alina rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding its strike, while Marcus opened fire. The bullets ricocheted off its armor, doing little damage. "Arjun, now!" Alina yelled, dodging another swipe from the creature's claws. With a final keystroke, Arjun slammed his fist onto the console. The lights flickered, and the entire ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared as the Krylos commander staggered, clutching its head in apparent agony. "What have you done?" it roared, its voice cracking. "We turned your own tech against you," Alina replied coldly, raising her weapon. She fired a single shot straight into the creature's exposed neck. It collapsed with a guttural scream, its body convulsing before going still. The rest of the Krylos forces began retreating, their systems compromised. Outside, the human fleet capitalized on the opening, unleashing a barrage of missiles that tore through the enemy ships. As the dust settled, Alina stood amidst the wreckage, her chest heaving with exhaustion. They had won, for now. But as she looked around at the cost, the lives lost, the sacrifices made, she knew this victory came at a price, and deep in her heart, she wondered if humanity was truly ready for the war that lay ahead. ###**** Part 10. A New Dawn ****. The battle was over, but the cost weighed heavily on everyone. The void of space was littered with debris, shattered hulls of ships, drifting clouds of ash, and the silent remains of those who had given their lives for humanity's survival. The Krylos fleet had been decimated, its flagship reduced to a smoldering wreck. Yet, as Captain Alina Voss stood on the bridge of the Odyssey Dawn ***, she felt no sense of triumph, only a deep, aching sorrow. "Casualty reports are coming in," Lieutenant Marcus Hale said quietly, his voice hollow. "We lost nearly half the fleet, billions across the colonies. Gone." Alina closed her eyes, absorbing the weight of his words. Each name, each face represented someone. A parent, a child, a friend who would never return home. But they hadn't fought just to survive. They'd fought to ensure that humanity would endure. That thought kept her standing when every fiber of her being wanted to collapse. Dr. Arjun Patel approached her, holding the storage device tightly in his hands. "This data, it changes everything. Humanity knows the truth now. About Earth, about the Krylos. We can rebuild. We have to. Elena nodded slowly. Rebuilding won't be easy. Trust doesn't come back overnight. But this, she gestured toward the viewport, where the remnants of the human fleet floated like battered sentinels. This proves we're stronger together than apart. The war had united humanity in ways no one could have predicted. Rival factions set aside centuries of animosity, working side by side to heal the wounds inflicted by both the Krylos and themselves. Colonies once isolated began sharing resources, technology, and knowledge. For the first time in generations, hope flickered in the hearts of billions. As the Odyssey Dawn charted a course for Earth's remains, Elena addressed what remained of her crew. Standing tall despite her exhaustion, she spoke with quiet resolve. What we did here today, it wasn't just about revenge or survival. It was about reclaiming who we are. Humans don't give up. No matter how dark things get, we find a way to keep moving forward. Her words resonated deeply, drawing murmurs of agreement from the weary faces around her. Even Marcus managed a faint smile, though his eyes still carried the shadow of loss. When they reached Earth's orbit days later, the sight was haunting yet beautiful. The planet's surface was cracked and barren, its oceans dried up and skies perpetually gray. But amidst the devastation, there were signs of resilience. Tiny patches of green where life stubbornly clung to existence. Humanity's homeworld might never recover fully, but it would serve as a memorial, a reminder of what had been lost, and what must never happen again. Back aboard the ship, Elena watched as Arjun transmitted the final pieces of evidence to every corner of human space. The recordings, maps, and data would become part of history, ensuring that future generations understood the price paid for their freedom. In the weeks that followed, stories of the battle spread far and wide. The crew of the Odyssey Dawn became legends, symbols of courage and unity. Children whispered tales of Captain Voss and her team, dreaming of a brighter future. One evening, as the galaxy turned silently above them, Elena found herself staring out at the stars. Beside her stood a young girl, no older than 10, who had survived the war. Her wide eyes reflected the endless expanse of space. "What happens now?" the girl asked softly. Elena smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Now, we start over. Together." And as the Odyssey Dawn drifted onward, carrying the hopes of a fractured yet determined species, one thing was certain: humanity's story was far from over.